It is often said that this is the most connected era in human history. One tap brings us a face, a message, a flood of reactions. Words travel continents in seconds. Notifications pulse like an artificial heartbeat. The network is alive and it never sleeps. And yet, the emptiness is louder than ever. Loneliness, once associated with remote cabins and long winters, now haunts city centers, private bedrooms, and crowded comment sections. It hides beneath good lighting. It walks quietly next to followers and filters. It thrives not in silence, but in noise. So what changed? And did anything truly change at all? Loneliness today doesn't always look like isolation. It doesn't wear rags or echo through empty rooms. It, it blends in with routines, with posts, with everyday conversations that leave something missing. To be alone is one thing. It can be chosen. It can even be sacred. Aloneness allows the mind to breathe, to listen, to grow. But loneliness is different. It creeps in even when others are near. It erodes joy. It whispers that something is off. Not in the world, but in the self. Often it follows low self-worth, a sense that connection isn't even possible, or worse, that it isn't delivered. And in this hyper-connected age, the contrast becomes crueler. Loneliness isn't erased by connection, it's redefined by it. Surrounded by content, flooded with voices, the line between what's real and what's performance starts to blur. And when that blur lingers too long, the brain, unsure what to trust, begins to believe no one is actually there at all. There are more ways than ever to reach someone, and fewer ways to feel truly reached. Virtual closeness doesn't always translate to emotional safety. It mimics the shape of connection, but not always the soul. When connection is mediated through screens, presence can feel artificial. The warmth of someone besides a body, their pauses, their laughter in real time, it gets lost. Even shared silence, a powerful form of connection, becomes awkward in digital space. So the question arises, are people more alone now? Or has the definition of being with someone simply changed? Perhaps the modern mind is trying to reconcile the contradiction, to trust the messages, replies, tags, while still aching for something deeper, something tactile, something that affirms, not just entertains. Another route runs deeper: comparison. Where one social interaction was limited to the local, now it stretches to the global. With it comes the endless ability to compare faces, lives, lifestyles. Validation becomes currency. Metrics become mirrors. And these mirrors often reflect not who one is, but who one isn't. Loneliness swells when a person begins to believe everyone else has something they do not. Deeper bonds, louder laughs, just a better time. Even if those lives are curated fragments, the mind accepts the illusion. The gap between what is felt and what is seen becomes unbearable. This isn't just about envy, it's about identity. the desire to be seen becomes confused with the desire to be liked. And when that gets stripped away, what remains is silence. Not not the peaceful kind, but the suffocating kind. The kind that says, this isn't enough. What if connection has always been elusive? Perhaps part of the pain comes from what connection has been made to represent. Not just comfort, but meaning. To be understood, to be remembered, to belong, these aren't luxuries. They're survival instincts wired deep into the human nervous system. But no single relationship, no group, no follower count can completely satisfy that longing. And perhaps the idea that someone out there should is a quiet trap. So is the rise of loneliness a failure of technology? Or is it a reflection of how little society has prepared people to sit with the emptiness, to befriend the alone before it becomes loneliness? There is a tension between overstimulation and undernourishment. Too much noise, not enough nourishment. Too much visibility, not enough vulnerability. And in that imbalance, meaning gets lost. Is loneliness always a bad thing? Maybe not. Maybe it serves as a mirror. It shows who has been avoided, what truths have been buried, where healing might begin. Loneliness can bring clarity about needs, about boundaries and purpose. It forces the inner world to speak when all outer voices fade. And for those willing to listen, there can be wisdom there. But left unchecked, loneliness can spiral. When it persists, even in the presence of joy, it can become a lens that distorts everything. Trust becomes harder, communication becomes risk, and connection becomes more of a wish than a reality. So where does this leave the modern world? In a strange middle place, between access and absence, between connection and disconnection. Technology is not the villain. It isn't the savior either. It's just a mirror amplifying what's already there. And what's there, often, is an aching silent question. Where are the real people? Not just the visible ones, not just the reactive ones, but the ones who stay, who speak softly, who understand not with perfect words, but with consistent presence. Maybe the true antidote to loneliness isn't just more interaction. Maybe it's less pretending. Fewer facades, fewer expectations, fewer comparisons. Maybe it's in building slower. Maybe it's in building slower. Just listening longer, asking deeper, and then letting quiet spaces be just that. Quiet, not empty, slow. Because perhaps loneliness isn't a problem to be solved, but a message to be heard.